Chapter 1. Two worlds collide. In the world of technology, two names stand out like shining stars: Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Their story is not just about technology, it's a tale of vision, rivalry, and friendship. Bill Gates grew up in Seattle, Washington. He was a curious child with a sharp mind. His parents were well off, and they supported his interests. Gates found his passion early in life when he encountered his first computer. It was love at first sight. He spent hours learning how it worked, writing small programs and dreaming of what computers could do in the future. On the other side of the country, in San Francisco, California, Steve Jobs had a different start. His childhood was not as comfortable as Gates'. Jobs was adopted and grew up in a middle-class family. He was a smart but restless student, always looking for something more. Jobs was not just interested in technology, but also in design and how things looked and felt. He believed that computers should not only be powerful, but also beautiful. As teenagers, both Gates and Jobs showed extraordinary talent. Gates was a whiz at programming. He wrote complex code and even created a software program to schedule classes in his school. This program was his first step into the world of software development. Jobs, meanwhile, was exploring his interests in electronics. He met Steve Wozniak, a brilliant engineer, and together they started working on their own computer projects. Jobs saw a computer as more than just a machine. To him, it was a tool to change the world. Their early experiences with computers were shaping their future. Gates was fascinated by the potential of software, while Jobs was captivated by the idea of making technology accessible and appealing to everyone. Gates went to Harvard University. But he didn't stay long. He had a vision of a computer on every desk and in every home, running software he would create. So he left Harvard and started a company called Microsoft. It was a bold move, but Gates was confident. He started working on software that would make computers easy to use for everyone. Jobs, on the other hand, didn't go for higher education. He believed in learning by doing. With Wozniak, he started a company called Apple. They wanted to make computers that were not just powerful, but also user-friendly and good-looking. Their first computer, the Apple I, was a hit in the local computer clubs. It was the beginning of something big. The paths of Gates and Jobs were about to cross. Microsoft was making software, and Apple needed software for its computers. It was a perfect match, at least at the beginning. Gates and Jobs met for the first time, and they talked about the future of computers. They were both young, ambitious, and ready to change the world. However, their approaches were different. Gates was focused on software, and he wanted Microsoft software to be used on every computer in the world. Jobs wanted to control the entire experience, both the hardware and the software. He wanted Apple products to be unique. This difference in their visions laid the foundation for a complex relationship. There would be collaborations, conflicts, and competitions. But at the heart of it all was a deep, mutual respect. Both Gates and Jobs knew that they were part of something big, something that would change how people lived, worked, and communicated. Chapter 2. The Spark of Innovation. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, though oceans apart in their approach, both started with a single spark of innovation that would light up the tech world. This chapter takes us back to those early days, when their dreams were just taking shape. Gates, a student at Harvard, was always thinking ahead. He saw a world where computers were not just for scientists or big companies, but for everyone. His big moment came when he learned about the Altair 8800, one of the first personal computers. It was basic, but for Gates, it was a door to the future. He realized that these machines needed software, and he knew he could make it. He and his friend, Paul Allen, worked tirelessly in a tiny room, writing code. They created a software for the Altair called BASIC. It was a programming language that made it easier to use the computer. This was their first big product, and it was a hit. It put Microsoft, their new company, on the map. Jobs, on the other side, was also making waves. He and his friend, Steve Wozniak, were part of the Homebrew Computer Club, a group of computer enthusiasts in California. They were fascinated by what computers could do. Jobs saw a chance to make something new. He wanted to make a computer that was not just powerful, but also easy and fun to use. Together, Jobs and Wozniak worked on their first computer. They called it the Apple I. It was different from other computers. It was smaller, less expensive, and easier to use. Jobs had a knack for seeing what people wanted even before they knew they wanted it. The Apple. I was a success, especially among hobbyists. It was the start of Apple, a company that would become known for its innovation and design. These early creations set the stage for Gates and Jobs. They were both driven by a desire to do something big, something that would change the world. Gates was focused on software, the programs that make computers work. He believed that software was the key to making computers accessible to everyone. Jobs, meanwhile, cared about the whole package, the hardware, the software, and how it all looked and felt. He wanted to create products that were not just useful, but also beautiful and enjoyable to use. As their companies grew, so did their ambitions. Gates wanted Microsoft to be everywhere. He worked hard to make partnerships with other computer companies. He wanted Microsoft software to be the first choice for every computer user in the world. Jobs was also pushing Apple to new heights. The success of the Apple I led to the Apple II, which was even more popular. It was one of the first computers to be widely used in homes and schools. Jobs was proving that computers could be more than just tools. They could be part of everyday life. Their journey was not easy. They faced challenges and setbacks. Gates had to convince big companies to trust a young entrepreneur with their software needs. He had to prove that Microsoft could deliver what it promised. Jobs, on the other hand, had to fight for his vision. He had to convince people that computers could be different, that they could be simple, beautiful, and fun. But they both kept going, driven by their passion and their belief in what technology could do for the world. Gates and Jobs were not just building companies, they were building the future. Gates was a master of strategy. He knew that to make Microsoft successful, he needed to get his software on as many computers as possible. This led to the development of MS-DOS, an operating system that became the foundation for many personal computers. He struck a deal with IBM, one of the biggest computer companies at the time, to use MS-DOS on their computers. This deal was a game-changer. It put Microsoft on the path to becoming a giant in the software industry. Meanwhile, Jobs was also making bold moves. He believed that computers should be beautifully designed and easy to use. This philosophy led to the development of the Lisa, and later, the Macintosh. The Macintosh was revolutionary. It was the first personal computer with a graphical user interface, where you could point and click with a mouse. It was different from anything else on the market. Jobs wanted to make a computer that didn't just perform tasks, but also delighted its users. The journeys of Gates and Jobs were about more than just building successful businesses. They were about changing how people interacted with technology. Gates saw a future where software would empower people to do great things. He was passionate about making software that was versatile and widely accessible. Jobs, on the other hand, envisioned a world where computers were not intimidating, but inviting. He wanted to create products that were intuitive and easy to use, that fit into people's lives seamlessly. He believed that technology should not only function well, but also bring joy to its users. Their drive for innovation led to some of the most significant advancements in technology. Gates and Jobs were always thinking ahead, always dreaming of what was next. They didn't just respond to the market, they shaped it. They introduced new ways of thinking about technology, new ways of using it, and new ways of integrating it into everyday life. This chapter of their story is a testament to the power of vision and determination. Gates and Jobs started with simple ideas. Software for a small computer, a computer that was different from the rest. But these ideas grew into something much bigger. They laid the foundation for empires that would dominate the tech world. Their early creations, Basic for Gates and the Apple I for Jobs, were just the beginning. They were the first steps in journeys that would take them to incredible heights. They would face competition, challenges, and changes in the industry. But their initial spark of innovation would keep them. Moving forward, driving them to keep innovating and reimagining what technology could be. Gates and Jobs were not just inventors or businessmen. They were pioneers in a digital frontier. Their work in the 1970s and 1980s set the stage for the technology we use today. They showed the world that computers could be more than just large, complex machines for scientists and engineers. They could be tools for creativity, productivity, and personal expression. As the chapter closes, we see Gates and Jobs at the beginning of their remarkable journeys. They started as young, ambitious dreamers with big ideas. They didn't have all the answers, but they had a vision and the courage to pursue it. Their paths were lined with challenges, but also with opportunities for incredible innovation. This is just the start of their story, a tale of two visionaries who would change the world with their passion for technology. Their legacy is not just in the products they created, but in the way they transformed our relationship with technology. They taught us to think differently about what computers could do and how they could fit into our lives. The spark of innovation that Gates and Jobs ignited would grow into a flame that lit up the tech world. It's a story of creativity, determination, and the power of a great idea. As we move to the next chapter, we'll delve deeper into their journey, exploring the highs and lows, the triumphs and struggles, and the relentless pursuit of innovation that marked the paths of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Chapter 3: The Rise of Microsoft. In the tech world, the rise of Microsoft is a story of vision, strategy, and sheer determination. This tale begins with Bill Gates, a young man with a dream that would change the world. Gates had a clear vision. A computer on every desk and in every home, all running Microsoft software. It was a bold idea, especially at a time when computers were big, expensive, and used mostly by businesses and universities. But Gates believed in the power of software to make computers personal and accessible to everyone. The early days of Microsoft were about turning this vision into reality. Gates and his team worked tirelessly. They were not just coding, they were solving puzzles, finding ways to make software more efficient, more user-friendly. Gates was not only a skilled programmer, but also a savvy businessman. He knew that to succeed, Microsoft needed to make software that could run on any computer. This strategy led to the development of MS-DOS, an operating system that became the foundation of Microsoft's success. When IBM, one of the largest computer companies at the time, chose MS-DOS for its first personal computer, it was a huge win for Microsoft. This deal was not just about money. It was a stamp of approval. It showed that Microsoft could compete with the biggest players in the tech world. But Gates didn't stop there. He wanted Microsoft to be at the forefront of every major development in the personal computing industry. When the graphical user interface, a way to interact with computers using images and a mouse, started gaining popularity, Microsoft responded with Windows. This was a game changer. Windows made computers even more user-friendly. It was not just for programmers or tech enthusiasts anymore. It was for everyone. Microsoft's rise was not just about its products. It was also about its strategy. Gates knew that partnerships and collaborations were key. He worked hard to build relationships with other tech companies. He wanted Microsoft software to be the first choice for every computer manufacturer. This strategy paid off. Soon, Microsoft software was running on most personal computers around the world. Gates also understood the importance of adapting to change. The tech world was moving fast, and he made sure Microsoft moved with it. He kept an eye on new trends, new technologies. He was always thinking about the next big thing, the next innovation that would keep Microsoft ahead. Under Gates' leadership, Microsoft grew rapidly. It was not just a software company, it was a symbol of the personal computing revolution. Gates' vision was becoming a reality. Computers were becoming a part of everyday life, and Microsoft was playing a big role in that transformation. But success brings its own challenges. As Microsoft grew, it faced competition, legal battles, and criticism. Some said Microsoft was too dominant, too powerful, but Gates was undeterred. He believed in his vision, and he kept pushing forward. The story of Microsoft's rise is not just about technology. It's about a vision that transformed the world. It's about seeing the potential of software to change how we live, work, and communicate. It's about the power of a dream and the determination to make it come true. As we close this chapter, we see Microsoft not just as a company, but as a force that shaped the modern world. It's a testament to Bill Gates' vision and his ability to turn that vision into reality. The rise of Microsoft is a key chapter in the story of personal computing, a story that continues to evolve and inspire. Chapter 4. The Birth of Apple. The story of Apple's birth is not just about a company, but about a vision that would redefine technology and design. This tale begins with Steve Jobs, a man whose ideas were set to revolutionize the world of computing. In the mid-1970s, Steve Jobs, along with his friend Steve Wozniak, embarked on a journey that would change technology forever. Jobs, with his passion for design and a keen eye for what people wanted, teamed up with Wozniak, a brilliant engineer who could turn Jobs' visions into reality. Together, they founded Apple, a company that would soon become synonymous with innovation. The early days of Apple were filled with excitement and challenges. Jobs and Wozniak worked out of a small garage, a humble beginning for what would become a tech giant. Their first product, the Apple I, was a breakthrough. It was one of the first personal computers available to the public. But what made it special was its design. Unlike other computers of the time, which were bulky and complicated, the Apple I was simple and user-friendly. It was a reflection of Jobs' belief that technology should not only be powerful, but also accessible and appealing. The Apple I was just the start. Jobs knew that to make a lasting impact, they needed to keep innovating. This led to the creation of the Apple II, a computer that was even more successful. The Apple II was not just a hit with tech enthusiasts. It found its way into homes and schools. It was easy to use, reliable, and importantly, it looked good. This was in line with Jobs' vision of combining technology with great design. Jobs' approach was different from what was common in the tech world at that time. He wasn't just focused on the technical aspects. He cared about how products looked and how they made people feel. He believed that computers should be intuitive and enjoyable to use. This philosophy was evident in every Apple product. Under Jobs' leadership, Apple continued to grow. The company became known for its innovative products and its unique approach to technology and design. Jobs didn't just want to create products. He wanted to create experiences. He paid attention to every detail, from the software to the packaging. He knew that every aspect of a product contributed to the user's experience. Jobs was also a master at understanding the market. He knew how to present Apple's products in a way that captured people's imagination. He was not just selling computers. He was selling a new way of interacting with technology. Apple's advertisements and presentations were as innovative as their products, often creating a buzz and drawing attention to the company's latest creations. However, the journey was not always smooth. Apple faced its share of challenges, from financial struggles to competition. But Jobs' vision and determination kept the company moving forward. He was always thinking about the next big thing, the next innovation that would keep Apple at the forefront of technology. The birth of Apple is a story of passion, innovation, and the power of a great idea. It's about seeing the potential of technology to not just perform tasks, but to enrich lives. It's about challenging the status quo and daring to think differently. As this chapter ends, we see Apple not just as a company, but as a symbol of innovation and creativity. It's a reminder of how a small garage project can grow into a global phenomenon. The story of Apple's birth is a key chapter in the history of technology, a chapter that continues to inspire and shape the world we live in. Chapter 5. The First Encounter. The first meeting between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs was a moment that would set the tone for one of the most fascinating relationships in the world of technology. It was in the late 1970s when these two young visionaries, each leading their own revolutionary tech companies, met for the first time. Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft, was already known for his brilliant mind and business acumen. Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, was making waves with his innovative approach to technology and design. Both had heard of each other, of course. They were, after all, rising stars in the same sky, the rapidly evolving universe of personal computing. Their first meeting took place at an industry conference. It was an event where the brightest minds in technology gathered to share ideas and explore new possibilities. Gates and Jobs were both there to see what the future held, to learn about the latest developments and, maybe, to glimpse their competition. When they finally met, it was a moment marked by mutual curiosity. Gates was intrigued by Jobs' vision for Apple, his passion for design, and his approach to making technology not just functional, but also user-friendly and beautiful. Jobs, on the other hand, was interested in Gates' deep understanding of software and his strategy for Microsoft's growth. Their conversation was a blend of technical talk and big-picture ideas. They discussed operating systems, software, and the future of personal computing. It was clear from the start that they had different philosophies. Gates was focused on software that could be used across various types of computers. He saw software as the key to the future of computing. Jobs, meanwhile, believed in controlling the entire user experience, combining hardware and software to create products that were not just powerful, but also intuitive and aesthetically pleasing. This first encounter was respectful, but cautious. Both Gates and Jobs were aware that they were potential competitors. The personal computing market was still young, and there was a sense that it was big enough for different visions to thrive. But even in those early days, there was an underlying sense of rivalry, a feeling that their companies, Microsoft and Apple, might one day find themselves in direct competition. Despite their differences, there was a mutual respect. Gates admired Jobs' ability to connect with people, to sell not just a product, but a vision. Jobs, in turn, respected Gates' technical prowess and his clear understanding of the business side of technology. This first meeting laid the groundwork for a relationship that would span decades. It was a relationship that would go through various phases, from collaboration to rivalry, from mutual admiration to public disagreements. But throughout it all, one thing was clear. Gates and Jobs were two sides of the same coin, two visionaries who saw different paths to the future of technology. Their encounter at the conference was just the beginning. In the years to come, their paths would cross many times. They would work together, challenge each other, and push each other to achieve more. They were competitors, yes, but also peers in a fast-changing industry that they were both helping to shape. As this chapter closes, we see Gates and Jobs as young men at the dawn of their careers, unaware of the immense impact they would have on the world of technology and beyond. Their first meeting was a glimpse into the future, a preview of the complex, dynamic relationship that would play a significant role in the development of personal computing and the way we interact with technology today. Chapter 6: Collaboration and Conflict. The journey of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs was not just a tale of two tech giants. It was also a story of collaboration and conflict, where the lines between partnership and rivalry were often blurred. The early days of Apple and Microsoft saw them working together, yet there was always an undercurrent of tension. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, personal computing was taking its first steps. Apple was gaining attention with its innovative Apple II, and Microsoft was making a name for itself with its software expertise. It was during this exciting time that Apple and Microsoft found a way to work together. Apple, under Jobs' leadership, was working on the Macintosh, a computer that aimed to be revolutionary. Jobs envisioned the Macintosh as not just a piece of technology, but as an experience. It was to be intuitive, user-friendly, and beautifully designed. However, for all its innovation in hardware, Apple needed software to bring the Macintosh to life. This is where Gates and Microsoft came in. Microsoft was already a leading name in software, and Gates saw an opportunity in collaborating with Apple. Microsoft began developing software for the Macintosh, including an early version of the now famous Microsoft Word and Excel. This collaboration was beneficial. For both companies, Apple got top-notch software for its new computer, and Microsoft got a chance to expand its reach in the burgeoning market of personal computing. However, this collaboration was not without its challenges. Gates and Jobs, both brilliant but with very different visions, often found themselves at odds. Gates was pragmatic, focused on software that could be used on any computer, while Jobs was passionate about creating a complete product where hardware and software worked seamlessly together. The tension between the two became more pronounced as the project progressed. Jobs was particular about how the software should work on the Macintosh. He wanted everything to be perfect, aligning with his vision of a computer that was not just functional but also a joy to use. Gates, on the other hand, was more concerned with functionality and compatibility. He wanted to ensure that Microsoft's software would work well, not just on the Macintosh, but on other computers as well. This difference in approach led to disagreements. Jobs sometimes felt that Microsoft wasn't fully committed to Apple's vision, while Gates felt that Jobs' focus on aesthetics and user experience was sometimes at the expense of practical functionality. Despite these challenges, the collaboration continued, with both companies recognizing the mutual benefits. This period of collaboration was a crucial time in the development of personal computing. It brought together two of the industry's most influential companies and two of its most visionary leaders. The work they did together helped shape the future of technology. Microsoft's software on the Macintosh was a critical step in the evolution of personal computing. However, the collaboration also sowed the seeds of future conflict. As Microsoft and Apple grew, their paths began to diverge. The early spirit of partnership gave way to competition, as each company started to see the other as a rival in the race to dominate the personal computing market. The tension between Gates and Jobs, both personally and professionally, began to grow. Their meetings became less about collaboration and more about competition. The relationship that had started with mutual respect and a shared goal of advancing technology was becoming a rivalry that would define an era in the tech industry. As this chapter comes to a close, we see the early collaboration between Apple and Microsoft giving way to conflict. It was a complex relationship, marked by moments of partnership and periods of rivalry. But one thing was clear. Both Gates and Jobs were driven by a desire to push the boundaries of what technology could do. Their collaboration and conflict were not just about business, they were about the future of computing. And as we turn the page, we prepare to delve deeper into their evolving relationship, a relationship that would have a lasting impact on the world of technology. Chapter 7. The Battle of the PCs. The story of Microsoft and Apple in the personal computer market is a tale of intense competition and technological innovation. As the 1980s progressed, the rivalry between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and their respective companies became a defining narrative in the tech world. Microsoft, under Gates' leadership, was focusing on software, particularly on the operating system known as Windows. This system was designed to be used on a variety of different computers. Gates' vision was to make Microsoft software a universal presence in the world of personal computing. Windows was user-friendly, featuring a graphical interface with icons and a mouse. It was a big step forward from the text-based commands that were common at the time. On the other side, Apple, led by Jobs, was making its own waves with the Macintosh. Launched in 1984, the Macintosh was a marvel of design and functionality. It was the first mainstream computer to use a graphical user interface and a mouse, making computing more accessible and intuitive for the average user. Jobs believed that the integration of hardware and software in the Macintosh created a superior user experience, a belief that became a cornerstone of Apple's product philosophy. The competition between Microsoft and Apple was not just about technology, it was also about different visions for the future of computing. Gates saw a world where software was king, where the operating system and applications could run on any hardware. Jobs, however, believed in a complete package where the hardware and software were tightly integrated, creating a seamless and more user-friendly experience. This clash of visions led to intense rivalry. Microsoft's strategy allowed them to reach a broader market. Windows could be licensed to any computer manufacturer, making it the operating system of choice for a wide range of computers. This approach made Microsoft a dominant force in the software industry. By the early 1990s, Windows was the most widely used operating system in the world. Apple, with its focus on the complete user experience, carved out its own significant niche in the market. The Macintosh was popular in certain sectors, particularly among creative professionals who valued its superior graphics and ease of use. However, Apple's insistence on controlling both hardware and software limited its market share compared to the more universally available Windows-based PCs. The competition between Microsoft and Apple went beyond their products. It was a battle of business models, marketing strategies, and corporate philosophies. Gates and Jobs, once collaborators, were now leaders of rival camps. Their public appearances and statements often highlighted the competition between their companies. They both understood the stakes were high, as the decisions they made would shape the future of personal computing. Despite the rivalry, the competition between Microsoft and Apple drove innovation in the industry. It pushed both companies to constantly improve their products and explore new technologies. The battle of the PCs was not just about winning market share, it was about defining how people interacted with technology. As this chapter concludes, we see the landscape of personal computing forever changed by the rivalry between Microsoft and Apple. The competition between Gates and Jobs had moved from a personal to a corporate level, influencing the direction of their companies and the choices they made. This battle of the PCs set the stage for the next phase of their rivalry, a phase that would see new technologies and new challenges as they continued to push the boundaries of what personal computers could do. The impact of this competition was far-reaching. It wasn't just about Gates and Jobs, or Microsoft and Apple. It was about setting the course for the future of technology. Their rivalry led to advancements that made computers more powerful, easier to use, and more accessible to a broader audience. It was a time of rapid innovation, where each new product release was eagerly anticipated by consumers and the industry alike. As we move forward in this story, it's important to recognize the role that this competition played in shaping the technology we use today. The battle of the PCs was not just a chapter in the history of Microsoft and Apple. It was a pivotal moment in the evolution of modern computing. It was a time when the decisions and products of these two companies would start to touch every aspect of our lives, from work to education to entertainment. The legacy of this rivalry is complex. On one hand, it was a classic corporate battle, with each company striving to outdo the other. On the other hand, it was a testament to the power of competition to drive progress. Gates and Jobs, with their distinct visions and relentless drive, pushed each other and the industry forward. They may have been rivals, but in the process, they transformed personal computing into what it is today. Before we embark on the diverging journeys of Gates and Jobs in Chapter 8, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and share your suggestions for future stories with us at WooEnglish. Your ideas inspire our next chapters. Chapter 8. Diverging Paths. As the late 1980s and 1990s unfolded, the paths of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, both giants in the world of technology, began to diverge in significant ways. This period marked a time of transformation, both personally and professionally, for these two iconic figures. Bill Gates, at the helm of Microsoft, was steering his company to new heights. The success of Windows had firmly established Microsoft as a dominant force in the software industry. Gates' vision of a computer on every desk and in every home was becoming a reality. Under his leadership, Microsoft continued to innovate. They expanded into new areas, including office productivity software with Microsoft Office, which became as ubiquitous as Windows itself. Gates was not just a visionary, he was a strategist, constantly thinking about the next move, the next big thing that would keep Microsoft ahead. Professionally, Gates was at the top of his game, but personally, he was also undergoing changes. He married Melinda French, a Microsoft employee, in 1994. This marked a new chapter in his life, one that would later lead to joint philanthropic efforts that would have a global impact. Meanwhile, Steve Jobs' journey took a very different turn. In 1985, amidst internal conflicts at Apple, Jobs left the company he co-founded. This was a dramatic and challenging time for him. Jobs found himself outside of Apple, the company he had poured his heart and soul into. But he did not let this setback stop him. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to explore new horizons. Jobs founded Next, a company that focused on creating powerful workstations for the education and business markets. While Next never achieved the commercial success of Apple, it was a testament to Jobs' continuous drive for innovation. Next's software and hardware innovations, particularly its operating system, would later become a key part of Apple's resurgence. Jobs' passion for technology was matched by his interest in animation and storytelling. In 1986, he acquired the Graphics Group, which would later become Pixar Animation Studios. This move marked a significant shift in his career. Under his leadership, Pixar revolutionized the animation industry, creating some of the most beloved films of the era. Jobs had once again proven his ability to foresee and shape the future, this time in a completely different industry. The 1990s were a period of reflection and growth for Jobs. His experiences with Next and Pixar gave him new perspectives on business, leadership, and creativity. These experiences would later influence his leadership style upon his return to Apple. For Gates and Jobs, the late 1980s and 1990s were times of personal and professional evolution. They were no longer the young tech enthusiasts who started Microsoft and Apple. They had matured, faced challenges, and learned from them. Their journeys, though different, were shaping them for the next stages of their careers. As we close this chapter, we see two men who had grown and evolved, ready to take on new challenges. Gates was leading one of the most powerful companies in the world, while Jobs was rediscovering his passion and preparing for a triumphant return to Apple. Their paths, which had diverged, were preparing them for future convergences and new chapters in their extraordinary lives. The diverging paths of Gates and Jobs during this period were not just about the choices they made or the directions they took. They were about growth, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of innovation. These years set the stage for the next era of their lives, an era that would see them return to the forefront of the tech world, continue to innovate, and leave. Lasting impacts on technology and beyond. As Gates continued to solidify Microsoft's dominance in software, he also began to turn his attention to broader issues, hinting at the philanthropic path he would later pursue. Jobs, on the other hand, was refining his vision and leadership style, experiences that would be crucial in his future endeavors. The late 1980s and 1990s were also a time of rapid technological advancement. The Internet was beginning to emerge as a new frontier, and the world of computing was evolving at an unprecedented pace. Both Gates and Jobs were aware of these changes, and their decisions during this period were influenced by the shifting technological landscape. Gates was quick to recognize the potential of the Internet, steering Microsoft to embrace the web. This period saw the launch of Internet Explorer, Microsoft's entry into the web browser market, and a pivot towards Internet-based technologies. Gates's ability to adapt to changing times was a hallmark of his leadership at Microsoft. Jobs, meanwhile, was honing his skills as a visionary and a leader. His work at Next and Pixar was setting the foundation for his return to Apple. The lessons he learned during this period about innovation, about storytelling, and about creating products that connect with users on an emotional level would be instrumental in the revival of Apple in the late 1990s and early 2000s. In essence, the late 1980s and 1990s were a period of preparation for both Gates and Jobs. They were laying the groundwork for their future endeavors, building on their experiences, and preparing for the next phase of their careers. This period of divergence was not just a departure from their earlier paths. It was a crucial phase of growth and development. As this chapter concludes, we see two individuals who, though following different paths, were still deeply connected to the world of technology and innovation. Their journeys, distinct yet parallel in many ways, were preparing them for the next chapter of their storied careers. The stage was set for their return to the forefront of the technology world, where their paths would once again intersect in new and fascinating ways. Chapter 9. Gates' Global Reach. As the 1990s progressed, Bill Gates and Microsoft embarked on a journey that would extend their influence far beyond the borders of the United States, reaching into every corner of the globe. This chapter explores how Gates, with his keen business sense and vision for technology, propelled Microsoft to global software dominance. Under Gates's leadership, Microsoft transformed from a successful American company into a global powerhouse. The key to this expansion was Gates's understanding of the universal need for accessible and user-friendly software. He believed that software could empower people and businesses everywhere, regardless of their location or language. This belief drove Microsoft to innovate and create products that resonated worldwide. The Windows operating system, Microsoft's flagship product, became a household name across the globe. Its user-friendly interface, combined with its capability to run on a wide range of hardware, made it a popular choice for both personal and business use. Gates' strategy to license Windows to multiple computer manufacturers meant that it was not just limited to one type of hardware, further expanding its reach. Moreover, Gates foresaw the importance of localizing software, making it available in multiple languages and adaptable to different cultural contexts. This approach broke down barriers, making technology accessible to a wider audience and cementing Microsoft's position in the global market. Another key aspect of Microsoft's global expansion was its foray into office productivity software. Microsoft Office, which included Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, became essential tools in businesses around the world. This suite of applications changed how businesses operated, enabling more efficient and effective communication, data management, and presentation capabilities. Gates also recognized the potential of the emerging Internet and directed Microsoft to embrace this new frontier. The launch of Internet Explorer, Microsoft's web browser, was a strategic move to capture a share of the burgeoning Internet market. While it faced competition, Microsoft's ability to bundle Internet Explorer with the Windows operating system gave it a significant advantage. This move not only expanded Microsoft's product range, but also positioned the company at the forefront of the Internet revolution. As Microsoft's influence grew, so did Gates' vision for technology's role in the world. He saw technology as a tool to address global challenges. This perspective led to the initiation of various projects and collaborations aimed at improving education, healthcare, and access to technology in developing countries. Gates believed that with the right tools, people around the world could achieve more, and Microsoft strived to provide those tools. However, Microsoft's global dominance also brought challenges and criticisms. the company faced legal battles over business practices, particularly regarding its dominance in the software market and the bundling of its products. These legal challenges were a testament to the complexities of managing a global corporation and navigating different legal landscapes. Despite these challenges, Gates' leadership continued to drive Microsoft's global expansion. He was not just a CEO. He was a visionary who saw the potential of software to transform lives and businesses across the world. His approach combined technological innovation with a deep understanding of the global market, setting Microsoft apart in an increasingly connected world. By the end of the 1990s, Microsoft had firmly established itself as a leader in the global software industry. Its products were used by millions of people and businesses, influencing everything from education to government operations. Gates' vision of a computer on every desk and in every home was becoming a reality, not just in the United States, but around the world. As we conclude this chapter, we see Bill Gates not just as a successful entrepreneur, but as a global influencer. His leadership and vision for Microsoft had a profound impact on the global technology landscape. The story of Gates' global reach is a reminder of how innovation, coupled with strategic thinking and a deep understanding of the global market, can lead to unprecedented success and influence. It sets the stage for the next chapter in the Microsoft story, a chapter that would see the company navigating the new millennium and the ever-evolving world of technology. Chapter 10. Jobs' Second Act. The story of Steve Jobs is marked by innovation, vision, and an unyielding drive. This chapter delves into what can be called Jobs' second act, his triumphant return to Apple and the extraordinary efforts he made to revitalize the company he co-founded. In 1997, Steve Jobs returned to Apple, a company struggling to find its footing in an increasingly competitive tech market. Apple, once a leader in innovation, was facing declining sales and a loss of direction. Jobs' return was not just a homecoming. It was a mission to save the company he loved. The Apple that Jobs returned to was very different from the one he had left. The company had lost much of its pioneering spirit and was struggling to compete with the likes of Microsoft. Jobs, with his unique vision and deep understanding of technology and design, was perhaps the only person capable of turning things around. One of Jobs' first moves was to streamline Apple's product line. He believed that focusing on fewer products would enable Apple to create better, more innovative technology. This decision led to the discontinuation of several products and a renewed focus on a core set of offerings. Another significant change was Jobs' approach to product development. He reintroduced his philosophy of integrating hardware and software to create a seamless user experience. This philosophy was evident in one of Apple's first major launches after his return, the iMac. The iMac was a bold departure from traditional computer design. It was not just a computer, it was a statement. Its unique design, ease of use, and powerful performance symbolized the new Apple, an Apple that was innovative, stylish, and user-focused. Jobs' return to Apple also marked a shift in the company's strategy. He understood the importance of creating a brand that resonated with consumers. Under his leadership, Apple began to focus on branding and marketing, positioning itself not just as a technology company but as a lifestyle brand. This approach was reflected in Apple's advertising campaigns, which were as innovative and impactful as their products. One of the most significant innovations during Jobs' second act at Apple was the introduction of the iPod. The iPod was not the first digital music player on the market, but it was the first to combine sleek design, ease of use, and a large storage capacity. The iPod, along with iTunes, Apple's digital music software, revolutionized the music industry. It transformed the way people bought and listened to music and set the stage for future innovations in digital media. Jobs' leadership style also evolved during this time. He was still the passionate visionary, but his experiences at Next and Pixar had given him a broader perspective. He had learned the importance of collaboration, of building a team that shared his vision and could help bring it to life. This collaborative approach was key to Apple's resurgence. Under Jobs' guidance, Apple regained its position as a leader in innovation. The company's focus on design, user experience, and branding set it apart in the tech industry. Jobs' second act at Apple was not just about introducing new products. It was about redefining what technology could be and how it could fit into people's lives. As we conclude this chapter, we see Steve Jobs not just as a CEO, but as a visionary who changed the course of a company and an industry. His return to Apple and the innovations that followed were a testament to his belief in the power of technology to enrich lives. Jobs' second act was a remarkable period of transformation and growth, both for him and for Apple. It set the stage for even greater achievements that would continue to shape the world of technology. Chapter 11. The Digital Age Dawns. As the 20th century drew to a close, the world stood on the brink of a new era, the digital age. This chapter explores the significant roles played by Bill Gates and Steve Jobs in ushering in this transformative period, focusing on their key contributions like Windows and the iMac. Bill Gates, through Microsoft, had already made a huge impact on personal computing with the Windows operating system. Windows brought a graphical interface to the masses, making computers more accessible and user-friendly. It wasn't just about the technology. It was about the vision of a world where everyone could use a computer. Gates saw the potential for software to transform lives, and Windows was a big step in making that vision a reality. Under Gates's leadership, Microsoft continued to innovate. Each new version of Windows brought more features, better performance, and a more intuitive user experience. It wasn't just about running a computer. It was about everything you could do with it: writing, drawing, calculating, and later, connecting to the internet. Windows became synonymous with personal computing, a testament to Gates's vision and Microsoft's innovation. Meanwhile, Steve Jobs was making his own waves with the iMac. When he returned to Apple in the late 1990s, the company was struggling. But Jobs had a plan. The iMac was a bold statement, a declaration that Apple was back and ready to innovate. It wasn't just a computer, it was a work of art. The iMac's sleek design, vibrant colors, and user-friendly interface captured the imagination of consumers. It represented a new way of thinking about computers, not as bulky, complicated machines, but as accessible, stylish tools for creativity and communication. The iMac also played a crucial role in Apple's strategy. Jobs understood that to succeed, Apple had to stand out. The iMac did just that. It was not just about performance, it was about making a statement. The iMac appealed to a broad audience, from students to professionals to everyday users who wanted a computer that was both powerful and beautiful. The impact of Windows and the iMac on the emerging digital age was profound. They were more than products. They were symbols of the era. Gates' vision of a computer on every desk and in every home was becoming a reality, thanks in large part to Windows. Jobs' belief in the power of design and user experience was reshaping how people thought about technology, as evidenced by the popularity of the iMac. The dawn of the digital age was also marked by the rise of the Internet. Both Gates and Jobs saw the potential of this new frontier. Microsoft's Internet Explorer became a key tool for accessing the web, while Apple's sleek devices were designed to make the most of the online experience. The Internet changed everything: how we communicate, work, learn and play. And Gates and Jobs were at the forefront of this transformation. As this chapter concludes, we see the digital age as not just a period of technological advancement, but as a shift in how we interact with the world. Gates and Jobs, with their respective visions, played pivotal roles in this transition. Their contributions, Windows and the iMac, were more than just successful products. They were catalysts for change. They represented new possibilities, new ways of thinking about and engaging with technology. The dawn of the digital age was a time of excitement and possibility. It was a period defined by innovation and transformation, led by visionaries like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Their impact on this era was profound, setting the stage for the next chapter in the story of technology, a chapter that would see even greater advancements and further integration of technology into every aspect of our lives. Chapter 12. Revolutionizing Entertainment. In the early 2000s, the world of entertainment was on the cusp of a major transformation, and Apple, led by Steve Jobs, was at the forefront of this revolution with the introduction of the iPod. This chapter explores how Apple's entry into digital music and entertainment reshaped the industry and changed the way we consume media. Before the iPod, listening to music was mostly about CDs or tapes. People had collections of them, and portable music meant carrying a CD player or a Walkman. Then, in 2001, Apple introduced the iPod. It was a small, sleek device that could hold thousands of songs. The iPod wasn't the first MP3 player on the market, but it was radically different. It combined Apple's signature design with an easy-to-use interface and a large storage capacity. The launch of the iPod was accompanied by the release of iTunes, Apple's digital music software. iTunes was more than just a music player. It was a platform for organizing, buying, and downloading music. For the first time, users could easily purchase individual songs or albums digitally. This was a game changer. It transformed the music industry, shifting it from physical sales to digital downloads. Steve Jobs and his team at Apple understood something crucial. The way people experienced music was changing. They no longer wanted to be limited by physical media. They wanted their music to be portable, accessible, and customizable. The iPod and iTunes met these needs perfectly. They made it possible to carry your entire music library in your pocket, to listen to any song, anytime, anywhere. The impact of the iPod on the entertainment industry was profound. It changed not just how people listened to music, but also how they thought about entertainment. It was the beginning of the shift to digital media, a shift that would soon encompass not just music, but also books, movies, and television shows. Apple's foray into digital music with the iPod was also a strategic move. It marked Apple's expansion from a computer company into a broader technology and lifestyle brand. The iPod appealed to a wide audience, from tech enthusiasts to music lovers, and it played a significant role in redefining Apple's image. The success of the iPod also set the stage for future Apple innovations. It showed that Apple could not only create great computers, but also revolutionize other industries. This success was a testament to Jobs' vision and Apple's ability to innovate and execute. The iPod era was about more than just technology. It was about a cultural shift. Music was no longer something you owned in physical form. It was something you could have with you at all times, a personal soundtrack to your life. This shift also changed the music industry's business model. from selling albums to selling digital downloads, and later, streaming music. Jobs' philosophy that technology should be both functional and beautiful was embodied in the iPod. Its sleek design, simple user interface, and the iconic white headphones became a cultural phenomenon. The iPod became a status symbol, a piece of technology that was cool and desirable. The introduction of the iTunes Store was another critical aspect of Apple's strategy. It created a legal and easy way to download music, addressing the growing problem of music piracy. The iTunes Store quickly became the largest music retailer, showing the power of digital distribution. This success paved the way for other digital content platforms, changing the way movies, TV shows, and even apps were distributed and sold. Apple's impact on the entertainment industry with the iPod and iTunes was a clear demonstration of how technology could change consumer behavior. The iPod made music portable in a way that had never been possible before, and iTunes made accessing and purchasing music easy and convenient. Together, they revolutionized the entertainment experience. As this chapter concludes, we see the iPod and iTunes not just as products, but as catalysts for a broader shift towards digital media. They marked the beginning of a new era in entertainment, an era defined by accessibility, portability, and personalization. Steve Jobs and Apple didn't just create a product, they created a new way of interacting with media, setting the stage for the next wave of digital innovation in entertainment. The iPod's legacy is significant. It was a stepping stone to other groundbreaking Apple products and played a key role in positioning Apple as a leading innovator in the tech industry. The revolution in entertainment that began with the iPod continues to evolve today, influencing how we access and enjoy media in our digital world. Chapter 13: The Smartphone Era. The dawn of the smartphone era was a pivotal moment in technology, and it was Steve Jobs and Apple who led this revolution with the introduction of the iPhone. This chapter takes us on a journey through the development and impact of the iPhone, a device that would redefine what a phone could be and do. Before the iPhone, mobile phones were primarily for making calls and sending text messages. They had small screens, physical keyboards, and limited functions. The concept of a smartphone existed, but it was nothing like what was about to come. In 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone, and it changed everything. Steve Jobs' vision for the iPhone was revolutionary. He wanted to create a device that was not just a phone, but a powerful computer in your pocket. The iPhone combined a phone, an internet communicator, and a music player all in one. It was a bold idea, a leap into the future of mobile technology. The design of the iPhone was a significant departure from existing phones. It had a large, touch-sensitive screen with just one button on the front. This design was sleek, elegant, and intuitive. The touch screen allowed for a more interactive and engaging user experience. Users could simply tap, swipe, and pinch to navigate, a significant change from the small keypads of previous phones. Another groundbreaking aspect of the iPhone was its operating system, iOS. It was a simplified version of Apple's desktop operating system, designed specifically for a mobile device. iOS was user-friendly and visually appealing, with its colorful icons and fluid animations. It made using the iPhone a delight, setting a new standard for mobile interfaces. The App Store was another key feature of the iPhone. Launched in 2008, it allowed users to download applications directly to their phones. This was a game changer. It opened up a world of possibilities, transforming the iPhone from just a communication device to a platform for entertainment, productivity, and everything in between. Developers around the world started creating apps for all sorts of purposes, and the App Store quickly became a central feature of the iPhone experience. The impact of the iPhone on the smartphone industry was profound. It pushed other companies to innovate and improve their own phones. The market quickly filled with smartphones trying to match or surpass the iPhone's capabilities. The competition drove rapid advancements in technology, leading to better, faster, and more powerful smartphones. Jobs' vision for the iPhone was not just about the hardware. He understood the importance of software and services in creating a complete user experience. This holistic approach to product design and development was a hallmark of Jobs' philosophy and a key factor in the iPhone's success. The iPhone also had a significant impact on the way people lived and worked. It made the internet truly mobile, allowing people to access information, navigate, communicate, and manage their lives from anywhere. The smartphone era brought about a new level of connectivity and convenience. It changed the way people consumed media, interacted with each other, and engaged with the world around them. In the years following its launch, the iPhone continued to evolve. Each new version brought improvements and new features, keeping Apple at the forefront of the smartphone market. The iPhone's camera, for example, transformed mobile photography, making it possible for people to capture high-quality photos and videos anytime, anywhere. Jobs' vision for the iPhone extended beyond the device itself. He saw it as part of a larger ecosystem that included software, services, and other devices. This ecosystem approach, where each product complements and enhances the others, became a key strategy for Apple and a model for the tech industry. As we conclude this chapter, the iPhone stands as a testament to Steve Jobs' vision and Apple's ability to innovate and redefine markets. The smartphone era, ushered in by the iPhone, represents a significant shift in technology and culture. It is a period marked by rapid innovation, changing lifestyles, and the power of technology to transform everyday experiences. The legacy of the iPhone is far-reaching. It is not just a successful product. It is a symbol of the digital age, a representation of the possibilities that technology can bring. It showcases how a single device can have a profound impact on the way we live, work, and connect with each other. The story of the iPhone is a key chapter in the history of technology, one that continues to influence the development of mobile devices and the digital landscape. Chapter 14. Gates' New Mission. As the new millennium unfolded, Bill Gates, once primarily known as the co-founder of Microsoft and a titan of the tech industry, embarked on a new, equally impactful journey. This chapter focuses on Gates's transition to philanthropy, where his efforts in global health and education have made significant strides in improving lives around the world. In the late 1990s, Gates, along with his wife Melinda, established the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This marked a turning point in Gates' life, signaling a shift from the world of technology to the world of philanthropy. The foundation's mission was clear and ambitious: to enhance healthcare and reduce extreme poverty globally, and to expand educational opportunities and access to information technology in the United States. Gates' approach to philanthropy was much like his approach to technology: visionary, strategic, and data-driven. He applied the same problem-solving skills that he honed in the tech industry to tackle some of the world's most pressing issues. The Gates Foundation started by focusing on health, particularly on diseases that were largely neglected, despite having a massive impact on millions of people in developing countries. One of the Foundation's early and ongoing efforts has been in the fight against malaria. Malaria, caused by a mosquito-borne parasite, is a major cause of death and illness, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. Gates Foundation invested in research and development of new treatments and preventative measures, including bed nets, anti-malarial drugs, and vaccines. These efforts have contributed to significant reductions in malaria rates and mortality. Another major focus of the Gates Foundation has been on vaccines. Gates recognized that vaccines are one of the most effective tools for preventing diseases. The Foundation has been instrumental in funding vaccine research and distribution, particularly for diseases like polio, which Gates has set a goal to eradicate completely. The Foundation's efforts have helped to make vaccines more accessible and affordable in developing countries, saving millions of lives. In addition to health, Gates has also focused on education. He believes that education is a key pathway to opportunity, especially in underserved communities. The Gates Foundation has supported numerous initiatives aimed at improving educational outcomes. These initiatives range from providing scholarships and funding school improvements to supporting innovative teaching methods and technology use in classrooms. Gates' interest in technology has not waned in his philanthropic efforts. He sees technology as a powerful tool to enhance learning and to make education more accessible. This is evident in the Foundation's support for digital learning platforms and resources, which aim to provide high-quality educational content to students around the world, regardless of their location or economic status. Moreover, the Foundation has also been involved in efforts to improve access to information technology in underprivileged areas. This includes providing internet access and computing equipment to schools and libraries, enabling students and communities to connect with the wider world and access a wealth of knowledge and resources. Gates' approach to philanthropy is unique in its scale and its reliance on data and research to guide decisions. He believes in measuring the impact of his Foundation's work, constantly looking for the most effective ways to address the challenges they tackle. This pragmatic approach ensures that the Foundation's efforts are not just well-intentioned, but also truly effective in making a difference. The impact of Gates's philanthropic work is far-reaching. Through the Gates Foundation, he has not only contributed to immediate improvements in health and education, but has also helped to shape global policies and practices in these areas. His work has inspired other wealthy individuals and organizations to take a more active role in philanthropy, emphasizing the importance of strategic, impactful giving. Chapter 15. Legacy and Impact. As we delve into the lasting legacies of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, it becomes evident that their impact goes far beyond the technology sector. Their influence has permeated culture, business, and the way we interact with the world around us. This chapter is a reflection on how these two visionaries changed not just technology, but also the very fabric of modern life. Bill Gates, a pioneer of the personal computing revolution, fundamentally altered the way we use technology. His vision of a computer on every desk and in every home transformed computers from a tool for the few into an essential part of everyday life for billions of people. Microsoft Windows, the operating system he championed, became a cornerstone of personal and professional life, powering businesses, education, and entertainment across the globe. Gates' impact, however, extends beyond Microsoft. His philanthropic work, particularly through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, has had a profound effect on global health and education. His efforts to eradicate diseases, improve healthcare, and enhance learning opportunities have improved and saved countless lives. Gates's shift from technology to philanthropy demonstrates a commitment to leveraging his success for global betterment. Steve Jobs, on the other hand, redefined our relationship with technology. Through Apple, he introduced products that combined functionality with elegance and simplicity. The Macintosh brought a new level of user-friendliness to computing. The iPod revolutionized how we listen to music, and the iPhone changed the way we communicate and access information. Jobs' insistence on design excellence and user experience set new standards in the industry and made technology more accessible and enjoyable. Jobs' legacy is not limited to Apple's products. He revolutionized several industries, including music, film, and mobile communications. His vision for digital music with iTunes and the iPod transformed the music industry, while his work with Pixar Animation Studios reshaped the world of animation and entertainment. The cultural impact of Gates and Jobs is immense. They changed how we think about and interact with technology. Gates and Jobs made technology more than just tools for work. They made it a part of our personal lives, influencing how we communicate, entertain ourselves, and manage our daily activities. Their innovations have become ingrained in modern culture, often referenced in movies, books, and media. Moreover, Gates and Jobs inspired a new generation of entrepreneurs and innovators. They showed that technology could be a force for change, a platform for creativity, and a pathway to success. Their stories of vision, perseverance, and innovation have become blueprints for those looking to make their own mark in the tech world and beyond. Their approaches to business and product development also set new precedents. Gates' focus on software universality and partnerships, and Jobs' emphasis on design and user experience, are strategies that continue to influence how companies operate today. They demonstrated the importance of not just having a great product, but also of having a clear vision and the ability to execute it effectively. The legacy of Gates and Jobs is also evident in the ongoing evolution of technology. The foundations they laid in personal computing, digital music, and mobile technology continue to drive innovation. The way we interact with technology today, swiping on touchscreens, streaming music and movies, using apps for everything from navigation to social networking, can be traced back to their groundbreaking work. As this chapter concludes, the lasting impact of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs is clear. They were more than just the founders of Microsoft and Apple. They were visionaries who reshaped the world. Their contributions to technology, culture, and philanthropy have left an indelible mark on society. Their legacies continue to influence and inspire, reminding us of the power of technology to transform lives and the world. Chapter 16. A Final Farewell. As we reach the final chapter of our story, we reflect on the later years of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, two titans of technology whose paths intertwined in both collaboration and rivalry. This chapter is a tribute to their achievements, their enduring legacy, and the mutual respect that defined the latter part of their relationship. In their later years, both Gates and Jobs transcended their roles as business leaders to become icons of innovation and change. Bill Gates, having stepped down from his day-to-day role at Microsoft, devoted his time and resources to philanthropy. His work with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation became his primary focus, reflecting his commitment to using technology and wealth to address some of the world's most challenging problems. Gates's efforts in global health, education, and poverty alleviation marked a new chapter in his life, one where he sought to make a meaningful difference on a global scale. Steve Jobs, meanwhile, continued to push the boundaries of technology and design until his passing in 2011. He remained deeply involved in Apple, overseeing the launch of revolutionary products like the iPad and the iPhone 4. Jobs' passion for perfection and innovation continued to drive Apple forward, cementing its place as a leader in the tech industry. Despite their differences and the rivalry that had defined much of their early careers, Gates and Jobs shared a deep mutual respect. This respect became more pronounced in their later years. They recognized each other's contributions to technology and how they had collectively shaped the digital world. Their rare public appearances together were marked by a sense of camaraderie and mutual admiration. The end of this era in technology was marked by Jobs' passing. It was a moment that reverberated across the world. Gates was among the many who paid tribute to Jobs, acknowledging his extraordinary impact on technology and how he had personally inspired Gates. This moment underscored the profound respect that had developed between the two, transcending past rivalries. The legacy of Gates and Jobs is multifaceted. They were pioneers who transformed the tech industry and influenced the way we live, work, and communicate. Their innovations laid the groundwork for the digital age, and their visions continue. As our journey through the stories of Gates and Jobs concludes, we invite you to share your thoughts. Like, comment, and suggest new stories. Don't forget to download our free PDF stories for an enjoyable way to learn English at WooEnglish.